Hi guys, this is Tastic Boy. So if you're looking to get into pharmacy schools here in the United States and you want to do that in a very smart way, you've actually come to the right place because in this video I'm going to be sharing exactly how to do that. However, before I go further, I recommend that you check out my other video that I made. It's going to be up there about if pharmacy school is the right choice for you and becoming a pharmacist. And also I've written down a few notes here. That way I cover everything that I need to cover. So bear with me if I'm moving around a little bit and just wanting to make sure I cover everything. Okay, so let's get to it. In terms of pre-pharmacy coursework, if the programs that you have in mind, the institutions that you're trying to apply into or looking to apply into, if they don't require that you have a 4-year bachelor's degree prior to your application or them accepting into their programs, I would personally recommend that you take those pre-pharmacy courses at a community college because you'll be saving yourself a lot of money if you were to take those classes at a community college versus having to take them at a 4-year college. That would be a really smart idea, and if possible, if you can do that, I recommend doing it. So in terms of pre-pharmacy courses, the classes, what are they actually looking for? So most programs require that you complete the communication classes, and this will include the English 101, English 102, as well as speech, public speaking. Also, they require that you complete the life sciences, and this will include the general biology, physiology, anatomy, microbiology, and the labs that go with those, obviously. In the past, you can probably get away without having to take genetics for some of the programs. However, a lot of programs are starting to change their prerequisites and curriculum here and there, and you may have to take genetics. So just check with the programs you have in mind and see what they want regarding that. So then you take physical sciences, and that would include the inorganic and the organic chemistry, as well as the labs that go with those. Also, you take biochemistry and the lab that go with that as well. Physics, in terms of physics, some programs will say to take the non-calculus based physics, and some require that you do take the calculus based physics. So again, check with the programs you have in mind, see what they want regarding that. In terms of math, you would have to take the pre-calculus, the calculus, but then you have to take pre-calculus to get to calculus, as well as statistics, and I believe that should fulfill the requirement for math. Social behavioral sciences, you would have to either take sociology, social science, psychology, and I believe that should fulfill the social behavior sciences part. Electives, most programs will require that you take some sort of electives and some in humanities or U.S. history. Again, just check with the programs that you have in mind, see what they want. Okay. So the key here, another smart idea here is to make sure that you take the classes that you need and not taking the classes that you don't need towards your from the application, because you don't want to spend too much time taking unnecessary classes and spending too much money. So in terms of GPA, personally I recommend that you stay above 3.0. If you can push 3.5, that's even great. Or if you can go higher, that's even awesome. Again, what you really want to pay attention to here is your math and science GPA, because you want to make sure that you're in good standing when it comes to those. So then after you complete the pre-pharmacy coursework, you can take the PCAT. So PCAT is a big deal because it's the entrance exam that you take before you get accepted into all, if not most, from the programs here in the United States. So again, different programs have their requirements when it comes to PCAT scores. So you want to check with the programs you have in mind, see what their cutoff points or scores are, and hopefully that would help you in terms of preparation for the exam as well. So going back to preparation, I would recommend giving at least a month, if you can, to study for the exam. Personally, I think I spent about a month to study for it, and I used the Kaplan or Kaplan, whichever one you want to call it, the PCAT prep book. There are other options online in terms of textbooks that you can use to prepare for this exam. Again, it all depends on the individual. I used the Kaplan one. I felt like that was enough for me. PCAT, you could register for the exam from July of the year prior to your acceptance into pharmacy school up till the January of the year off. So I would recommend to register to take the exam early on. because if for whatever reason you have to take the exam again, you have enough time to do that. You have enough time to see where you need to study better on, and that way you can prepare for another round of the exam. Versus if you were to take it later, and when you do that, you may not have enough time to complete the FAMCAS application, which I'll get to a little bit later, and fulfill the deadline for the schools that you're looking into. So I recommend taking it early, prepare for it, and take the exam. So I think that's about PCAT. So after you're done with PCAT, comes FAMCAS, and FAMCAS, that's another huge topic, because FAMCAS is like a database where you put in all your or maybe a website if you want to call it. That's where you put in your application for pharmacy school. You put in pretty much everything: the classes you've taken, your letter of recommendation, your personal essay, and then after you do that, the FAMCAS will send it to the schools that you're applying into. So FAMCAS do go live sometime in July of the year prior to you getting acceptance into pharmacy school. So again, another smart thing to do here is to start early, start completing FAMCAS application early. That way you give yourself enough time to complete the application and not have to rush through it, because you really don't want that. And I believe they do shut it down sometime in December, and they would reopen it sometime in mid-January for like fall grades, if you have to put in your fall grades into the system. So again, the key is to start early and get in all your letter of recommendations and all that. So tell me about letter of recommendation. I would recommend that you get acquainted to your professors. Let them know your goals. Let them know what you have in mind, that you'll be applying to pharmacy school, that you may be needing, because then when you ask them for letter of recommendations, they can write something nice about you, or they can give you a good letter of recommendation. So going back to personal essay, which you would also be putting in FAMCAS, it's a really huge topic here, because you want to personalize a personal essay. You want to make it unique. You want to make it your own. You just want to hone it. And the reason why I say that is because you'll be talking about it a lot. And if you have a very, very generic personal essay, I mean, that doesn't speak well. You want to stand out. So that would be my recommendation, and just own it. And that would do for letter of recommendations and personal essay. So after you put in all this into FAMCAS and send it out, hopefully they call you for an interview. So at this point, they already found something interesting in you, and they just want to see what you need to say, or they just want to know if you have if you'd be a good candidate, a good fit for their program. And when you go, you just want to go and sell yourself basically, and just hone it. Again, hone the interview, and let them know why you want to become a pharmacist, why you want to be in the program, why you'd be a good fit for the program. And I'll be doing a video later about interviews and what to expect and how to better prepare for them. So in terms of work experience, some pharmacy schools, they would recommend that you have some sort of pharmacy background, which I found, it's definitely quite important. And I would actually recommend that if you're not working as a pharmacy technician at this point, that you actually do get some sort of experience volunteering in a community health center, or maybe in a hospital or a retail clinic, a retail pharmacy. That way you have an idea of what you're getting yourself into, because you don't want to spend, it would be sad to spend the entire 4 years of pharmacy school and then later realizing that this is not for you. That would be a waste of money and a waste of time, and you really don't want that. So in terms of extracurricular activities, I would say also that go a long way in application process for pharmacy school. If you can, volunteer or sign up for various organizations they have, or in the college, or whatever it is that you're taking your pre-pharmacy coursework. And not just being a member, actually do something, actually be an active member, because that will also be something to talk about during interviews. And lastly, it's quite unfortunate that PharmD tuition, it's pretty expensive. They don't come cheap. So that still goes back to what I was mentioning earlier, that you have an idea of what you're getting yourself into. So shadow a pharmacist if you have to, just to have a feel for what you're about to commit your next 6 to 8 years of your life into. And again, it's a lot of money. So if you can get a scholarship, that would actually go a long way. A scholarship that you could then transfer into your PharmD program. So that would help a lot. And I believe that's all I got to say regarding this topic. If you have any questions, comments, leave those in the comment area. I would respond to your questions. I will address them. Also, I'll be leaving additional information in the video description. So if you want to learn more about this topic, feel free to go to those. And remember, the highlight of this video is getting into pharmacy school and doing that in a very, very smart way. So remember what we talked about. If you can take those pre-pharmacy classes at a community college, do so and save yourself a lot of money. Take the classes that you absolutely need to complete the pre-pharmacy courses, and get to your application early. Take those exams early on. That way you give yourself enough time. Again, if you have any questions, leave those in the comment area. If you find this video quite helpful, don't forget to hit subscribe. I'll be looking forward to your questions if you have any, and that'll be all for me. All right, thank you and ciao.